Welcome to the Sacred Feminine Business Revolution. I am so excited to be here today with my beautiful guest, Emmy Mutali, who is an energy practitioner, an intuitive healer. She is a shamanic womb priestess, and she's dedicated to the reawakening of the divine feminine. And I have just had the pleasure of just seeing her incredible gifts in Women on Purpose Academy and just absolutely enjoying the beauty that she spreads in the world through really being an ambassador of love and someone with a deep commitment to transforming the consciousness on our planet to really raise the frequency, helping women stepping into really loving themselves so that they can be part of this healing that is happening right now in the collective. And another thing that I absolutely love about Emmy is that she has an incredible podcast called the Sacred Feminine Power Podcast, and she's a best-selling author. And she is just a dear person to me. I've had the joy of working with her and I absolutely adore her. And I am so excited for our conversation today about healing visibility wounds for soul aligned success. Because I've seen that a lot of times that's the blind spot that women have. That's the thing that's keeping them from going to their next level in self-expression, in business, in really embodying the message they came to share with the world. So this is a very, very important conversation, to the point where I even have a vision, voice, and visibility retreat in Women on Purpose, because I think it is that important to really unpack those visibility barriers and for women to really connect in their hearts and souls to how they want to be visible in the world and what kind of impact they want to have, and really stepping into that, because what the world needs right now is women in their power. And Emmy has so much wisdom to share with us. Welcome, Emmy.
Oh, thank you, Terra. It's an absolute honor to be part of this beautiful gathering. And thank you for that introduction as well. That really touched me. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the work that you do. And I'm wondering, like, for you, what does embodying a sacred feminine business mean? And what does it look like for you?
Yeah, for me, it essentially is listening to your inner voice, to your inner guidance, learning to really connect with the deep, deep feminine wisdom that we all carry within our bodies, within our womb spaces, that very often comes from way back. So we're talking about primordial ancestral wisdom that lives within ourselves, within all of us. And when we tap into this wisdom, we are led not by the way that we've often been taught to do business, the more masculine, the more patriarchal kind of business running and business making, but we truly are aligned with our feminine energy, and we listen to what is important to us. We listen to guidance on what it might be that the world needs in any moment, and are really allowing spirit and our inner knowing guide everything that we do. And that also includes allocating time for breaks, for rest, for those moments when you know that you've planted seeds, and then taking a couple of steps back and allowing those seeds to start to germinate, and not pushing and not forcing things, but kind of flowing and allowing things to happen in that deep feminine time and space as well.
That's such a beautiful share, Emmy. I love that. And I think it is so important that we honor our womb space and our inner wisdom, and also just honoring that there are different seasons of business, different cycles of life. And it is so important, like you're saying, that we step outside of patriarchy or all these internalized, like almost oppressive, I would say, many ideas we have about how to do business. Much of marketing, comes from military industries, sports analogy, all of that. So we are kind of pioneering something very, very new here. And I love the way you shared that. And I want to talk about visibility wounds. So why do you think we have we, especially as women, have visibility wounds, and what are they?
Well, again, it really starts to boil down to patriarchy and the conditioning and the programming that we have all, pretty much all of us have grown up with. And it has to do with the fact that women have now for thousands of years been suppressed and oppressed. Our power has been oppressed. And there are so many experiences from history, from the collective experiences of women around the world that have taught us that to be in our power, to speak our truth and to shine our light, in other words, to be the radiant selves that we're meant to be, is often dangerous and not something that we should be aspiring to. We should be hiding our true voices. We should be silent. We should not be really shining that light of ours in public according to the current paradigm. And so many of us have had experiences either in this lifetime, could be in early childhood or later on, or in past life situations, or something that we've taken on through our lineages from our ancestors, or again from the collective experiences of women around the world, experiences that have really showed us that it is not safe to shine our lights. It is not safe to be visible. And starting to unlearn this programming and starting to heal those blocks that come from that fear-based paradigm of us not being allowed to shine our lights is so very important, especially in these times of transition. And for anyone who is wanting to start or grow their own business, especially in the current times, it is so very important to learn to understand what your own unique visibility blocks and wounds are, and then start to go deeper and start to understand where they might be coming from, what the root causes for those wounds are, and really to work around those wounds in a way that is empowering and liberating and absolutely life-changing as well.
Yeah, I love that you're bringing this back to healing. And I'm wondering if you could share a little bit about how you believe or how you work with healing these wounds, these visibility wounds.
A lot of it comes from my own experience. I personally have had huge blocks and fears around visibility myself, and I have for a very long time believed that my voice didn't matter and my story didn't matter. And it's taken me years and years and years to really work with those wounds and get to a level where I feel comfortable sharing my story, sharing my message, knowing that it's going to make a difference in the world and help women heal as well, and men heal as well at the same time. And the important thing there is to not be afraid to look into the shadows, to look into what we are often afraid to look into, which are the uncomfortable experiences. And really at a deeper level, start to understand what are the root causes for ourselves for these blocks and these wounds that we have. And I'm very fortunate to have learned a number of different healing modalities on my path that I now use on myself and on my clients in different parts of the world as well. And I now blend and weave together various healing modalities that really allow us to go deep into those root causes and release the wounding at a cellular level. So release the cellular memory of the trauma, of the wound itself. And in my healing work, what I do is I blend and weave together various healing modalities, some of which are ancient, so ancient shamanic feminine practices, as well as beautiful sacred breath work, guided meditations and journeys, and then also more modern energy shifting practices such as EFT and matrix re-imprinting, which are beautiful, powerful modalities that help us to go very quickly into the subconscious and identify those root causes to the wounds and allow us then to start to layer by layer, start to heal them. And sometimes very quickly, especially now with the energies that are really shining onto our planet, that healing process can be super quick. We're talking about quantum leaps in many cases. And in some cases, depending on your unique background and what you've gone through in this life and in past lifetimes as well, sometimes it can take a little bit longer.
Beautiful. I love the way that you work with these sacred wounds with so many beautiful healing modalities. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you think is possible when those visibility wounds are healed. Like I've seen, for women entrepreneurs, it's like they're excited to give their signature talk. They are, willing, they're happy to share things that maybe they felt like might be too edgy. They put them out on Facebook. They go for speaking opportunities instead of saying, oh, I'm not on that level yet. I mean, there's so many ways I think, but I'm just curious, like in your experience, what is possible when these visibility wounds are healed?
No, I completely agree with what you've just described there as well. And really, for me, the most important thing is really acknowledging and honoring your own worth. So really at a deep level, embodying your own story, embodying your own worth, and knowing that your story matters. And when you do that, then your story can really bring about healing for others as well. And when you are in that point in your life, then you, of course, are also able to grab those opportunities, whether they're speaking at a summit or joining a retreat where you're going to be facilitating, or even if you're not running your own business, even grabbing a new opportunity at the workplace that you are at, getting a promotion, and being more able to confidently support others as well, because you've gone through that journey yourself and you know what the others are going through as well. So there's that beautiful embodied wisdom and that knowing that comes from having gone through that healing journey and then being able to share it with others as well.
And can you share a little bit more about yourself and how healing your visibility wounds has led you to show up differently in your business and in your visibility?
Well, I used to compare myself a lot to other women, and there were women working in the field of the divine feminine ascension and divine feminine business models as well that I would always look up to. And I would always think, I'm never going to be like them. How could I ever share my story in the same forum as them? How could I even approach them to, for example, come onto my podcast? And healing my own visibility wounds has really helped me to have the courage to network, to communicate with women that a few years ago I would not have been able to do, and invite them as guests onto my podcast. In fact, to start my podcast, that was actually the result of clearing some of my visibility wounds, to actually start my podcast. And yeah, I'm about to celebrate 12,000 downloads on my podcast, and that is amazing.
That is amazing.
And yeah, and really just, recognizing my own worth and having the courage to step onto bigger and bigger platforms and bigger visibility opportunities, appearing in summits with 30 other speakers with a huge reach, and also having the confidence to, when I, for example, send out communication to my community in my emails and Facebook and so on, having the courage to be vulnerable and share more about my own journey as well, which of course will resonate for a lot of people. And I used to think that showing vulnerability was something that would make people not want to interact with me or not want to follow me. And it's been a huge, beautiful learning curve to realize that it is actually in the vulnerability that your relatability lies. And when women are able to relate to you and they see that you are sharing your own story authentically and speaking your truth based on your own embodied experience, they will want to work with you and they will want to hear what you've got to say.
Absolutely. And you are such a beautiful embodiment of really letting your light shine through your podcast. I've read your story in the book and I thought it was just incredibly powerful. And you have such a nice intimate relationship with your email community as well. Like you put out really valuable content, and I know you've had some great responses to that. So thank you for sharing more personally around that. And I would love to hear more about your free gift. Please tell us.
Yeah, this is a transmission that I received a couple of years ago. And it is a transmission that I received from the old crones, the wise old woman. And it is called You Are a Miracle. And it really is an activation about the fact that you truly are a miracle, the gifts that you possess just by virtue of having been born, and all the beauty that you hold just by virtue of you being you.
That's beautiful. What an incredible free gift. And it has been such a joy being with you, hearing your wisdom. And I'm just so grateful to have the opportunity to work with you, because you are such an embodiment of the divine feminine, really, truly. And you're doing this incredible work in the world. Just it feels like it's raising the frequency, raising the light, and raising the love. So thank you for doing all that you do, Emmy. You're amazing.
Thank you, Terra, and straight back at you. Thank you for all that you do as well. You are supporting so many women, people become even better versions of themselves, and really spreading your light and allowing others to spread their light as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmy.